And there it is, everybody. Welcome to the very first Journey for Java, Brenton on tour version of the podcast. We're changing it up a little bit. We've come back to coffee, and I am joined by my good friend, Jeremy Gursey. How are you, sir?
Hey, Brent. How you doing?
I'm good, man. It's been like a year and a half. Yeah, like a year and a half. We were on the beach, and now we're all in homes.
Yeah, now we're COVID restricted and homebound. So, yeah.
Well, we're trying a new look here. I've got a fancy little chair over here. I've got, I've got a couple different things on the go, trying to have some fun, trying to change the look up for the Journey for Java. I decided to come back to coffee. People have been asking me, when do I come back to coffee? When am I having more coffee people on? What's the plan? And here we are. And here you are. And it's been a while. And I just wanted to welcome you to the brand new show. Thanks for being our first guest.
Thank you. It's good to be here. Good to be here.
Now, part of this journey for Java that I'm on is obviously trying to find amazing coffee from around the world virtually, roasters still virtually, people with coffee stories virtually, because I can't get there, but I still get to go to the local coffee shop and dive in. So I'm trying to do that as much as I can. What are you doing, my friend, in coffee world right now? What's going on?
Well, a lot has changed in the last year and a half. So navigating COVID is job number one. Getting through it, surviving, all of that's good. Kind of readapting how we do things. But the other is I actually merged with this beautiful brand right here. It's called Coffee Manufactory, and it is out of Tartine. So I actually merged with Tartine Bakeries out of San Francisco, and I'm now overseeing the entire combined coffee division, which is Coffee Manufactory. So these are really awesome coffees, all about sustainability, traceability, using our cloud roasting process, which I've talked about in the past, being less acidic, using a very rare technique that kind of differentiates us from everything else out there. But this is awesome coffee. So I'm happy. Now,
was that out of without getting too personal? Was that out of necessity, given the current state of the world, or was it an opportunity that presented it to you before COVID, or was it just sort of like, hey, let's put our heads together? How did it kind of come about?
It actually came about before COVID. The deal started happening then, and I had a relationship with the parent company that owns Tartine. And it's been a long relationship, and they basically had their eyes on me to bring me into the company. And then when they randomly called me before COVID to start talking about this stuff, they were like, hey, we want to bring you in. We are looking for someone to run this company, and we like your style of operation. And then I said, well, it's a little bit of a conflict. I have my own company. Well, they said, well, what if we buy you out? And it turned out to be a merger. We ended up merging the two brands together, Manufactory being the predominant brand. Jay Gursey will now become a subsidiary brand of it. The beautiful thing about the combined company is these coffees are lightly roasted. They are specialty grade. We can identify the farmer that harvested it. We put money back into the community through a traceability initiative. And then we still have the Jay Gursey side, which is more medium to darker roast. So we kind of now have something for everybody, right? We have the medium darker for those that prefer, the Pete's style of coffee that I call my dad's coffee because that's what he grew up on. And then
most people call it rocket fuel.
Rocket fuel, right? And then you have, Coffee Manufactory, which is, a specialty coffee. A lot of single origins we offer. We have a Latin constantly changing every season because we're buying from such small farms. And we actually send somebody to the farms. We build the relationship. We're buying direct. It's a really cool process, and we're very involved on the producer side with the farmers. So,
do you enjoy the switch over? Like, do you enjoy balancing the both of them, or are you missing the just running Gursey coffee and then, or is it just an adventure?
No, I enjoy what I do. I know you had Tim Wendelbo on before, and we love what we do. It's not work. When I wake up in the morning, and the first thing I do is actually hit my grinder and do a pour over first thing when I wake up, get out of bed, hit that grinder, get the hot water boiling on the stove, my little kettle for my pour over. But I enjoy it. It's not work. I hate waking up early in the morning, but I could wake up for the rest of my life if this is my job, because it doesn't feel like a job. So it's that excitement that keeps me going. And, I love it. It's challenging. Definitely, this is a much bigger operation than I was before. There's a lot of moving parts. There's a lot of divisions. We have stores through Tartine, our sister company. So we have a lot of retail locations as well that we roast the coffee for and maintain the standard of the coffee. So it's definitely an interesting animal compared to what I was doing before, because I was more focused on hospitality with hotels and restaurants. And then, of course, before that, the whole celebrity factor, touring with celebrities, being a barista, to Tom Cruise, Cameron Diaz, Spielberg, Tarantino, and then Larry David, let's not forget. So
of course.
It's interesting now to be involved on the producer side too, where you're involved with the growth of the coffee, the agricultural aspect of it. It's and that again too is another completely animal. I was always very meticulous in how we purchase coffee before the merger, but even now it's times 10 with the merger. So it's been extremely beneficial. We're also in Whole Foods. We have about 80 Whole Foods stores that we sell to, and a couple other big box retailers. So that actually has been a great supply line and lifeline for the company during COVID, because I'm based right now in California. And it's been nothing but obviously lockdowns, restrictions, no outdoor dining since Thanksgiving. Yeah. We've had no outdoor dining. They finally lifted it this week. So that's
Are you shipping a lot though? Like, are you in Canada and around the world? Or are you just in America right now?
No, we have actually a couple accounts in Canada. We're selling nationwide. We're in Miami. We're in New York. We're in the Rocky Mountain region through distributors. That's another interesting component too. We work with a lot of distributors now because of the Whole Foods and box stores. You have to go in with distribution. So we'll ship by the pallet to, say, a distributor, and they'll handle those regions. So that's a whole other so there's so many, like I said, there's so many moving parts. There's the distribution model, then you have the sales side, because you have to build all these sales relationships. And then you have the producer side with the farms. Then you have the production side producing the coffee. There's a lot. Then you got to market, listen, you get coffee on the shelf. It doesn't just sell itself. You have to market it. You have to promote, you have to create something that, nobody else is doing to differentiate yourself. So it's definitely challenging, but fun, fun challenges.
Is it, it was challenging enough running your own everything before. You said you moved to LA. Are you guys? You were talking about you had your roastery and cloud roasting and the whole system set up in Vegas before. Are you still there, or have you?
Yeah. So no. Does
this come with you? Like the cloud roasting go with you now? Is it mandatory? Like if you're bringing me in, we're cloud roasting everything.
It was. I literally had to go to the board and show them the difference in the roast, and basically sell them on, hey, what is the more superior roasting process, and cloud roasting one based on taste, on efficiency, low carbon footprint. We have a lower carbon footprint, which is important. These bags are biotree, they're compostable. So we're really big on the environment as part of our ethos for the company. So, sticking with that, the roasting process fit right in, because we have very to little no carbon footprint. Based on the process. But yeah, I let the coffee sell itself, when I had to make that. But we still have our facility in Vegas. So we're still operating. We actually, because of Tartine and that relationship, we actually have offices now in San Francisco, offices in Los Angeles, and then roasting and distribution out of Nevada with Las Vegas. So we're pretty, we got a nice little footprint.
Yeah, I would consider you one of the smartest people I've met about coffee. Are you smarter now?
Yeah, I think so. Listen, I look at the people that have taken me under their wing over the years, like my mentor, and the guy who mentored me and taught me how to roast was a genius, right? Absolute genius. but he didn't wake up one day and become that genius. It's like knowledge gained over time. And so I feel that, I'm a veteran of coffee, being 27 years in the business. I feel I'm a pioneer in the fact that, we were the first to ever go into the entertainment industry with coffee. It didn't exist. It was styrofoam cups and Folgers when I came along, and we brought that chemistry, that fun high-end version of coffee that is now available on a mass scale throughout the United States and the world, actually. But we were early pioneers of that. And so, I feel it's all coming full circle. Definitely over the years, made a lot of mistakes, but learned from them. And, you progress. The one thing about me is I don't make the same mistake twice. So we're all human. We all screw up. We all make mistakes. But me, my team, it's one time, and then we learn, and then we move forward. So that's another great thing about us.
Last time I saw you, we were in LA. I guess we did the interview at the beach, but then you came to Alice in Chains and Korn.
Yeah, that was a great show.
Which was a blast. And I guess we saw each other there and for that. And then the world, I guess that's it. Changed. The world changed about around this time last year, about a month from now. What have you been doing for fun, dude? Like, it's all been focusing on this new company merger? Or you actually, I guess LA has been so weird, travel and everything. No one's getting a chance to do that. But what are you doing, man? What are you doing?
For me, for fun, I love, if the weather permits, I've taken up paddle boarding. I love paddle boarding. I love the water. I've always been a water guy. So whether it's renting a boat and racing across the ocean in a speedboat, or paddle boarding, or surfing, or bodyboarding, so that's been my new hobby. Spend a lot of time at the beach, just renting bikes and like riding on the beach path and, admiring the ocean, and then grabbing some seafood. And a lot of eating during COVID. And a lot of coffee drinking, and, just exploring, trying to get creative with like stuff to do. So it's not the same like routine, stay at home, Postmates, watch Netflix, coming up with fun ideas and concepts and, stuff like that. So that's kind of how I've been spending my time. And then of course, working and, in the early days of COVID, I spent a lot of time, we were actually closed from March when the pandemic was declared. It was March 10th was the declaration, and we closed on March 17th, and we didn't reopen until July. So our whole entire business at the time was hotels and restaurants, and due to lockdown, they all dropped occupancies, and it took till July for stuff to come back. So I actually spent a lot of time just like scouring resources, working with the great state of Nevada, who's been a huge support system for us as a company, giving us resources, making sure that, all of our employees and myself were able to keep health insurance, able to pay our rents, mortgages, etc. And so that was like a really, I spent a lot of time researching like grants and PPP and that, believe it or not, that's almost a full-time job. There was times during the COVID that I was like, from 9 to 5, all I'm doing is researching on the internet, who has grants, who has loans, stuff like that. And so that was a great thing for us to survive. And, it's about survival. Right now, it's about coming out of the pandemic. Obviously, a lot of companies are flourishing during these times, but so many are not. And, in the restaurant industry, you lost 1/3 of your restaurants. They're never coming back, these restaurants.
I know. It's quite something to see. And I think about it all the time, because up in Canada here, parts of the country are completely shut down. Some of them are in full lockdown. Here in British Columbia, we've kind of gone between lockdown and not, but you can still run to the coffee shop and get something. And then it's kind of weird because you can go in and order, but there's still people sitting inside, but then like that's deemed essential, but then I don't know, but then gyms and stuff, like it's a really weird thing that businesses have to struggle with. And the funny thing is coffee seems to make it through. I guess it's just a matter of coffee seems to be making it through. Not everybody, but coffee seems to make it through. Is that accurate?
Well, the thing about coffee is it's an affordable luxury. So even during the recession of 2008, the world recession, coffee still was a thing because it's affordable. It's a luxury that you can afford. Back then, I remember when Starbucks first came out and it was $4 for a latte, right? People are used to 99-cent McDonald's coffee or maybe Horton's, Tim Hortons and up where you are in Second Cup and came along, and it's like that was create $4 for you could buy a value meal at McDonald's for $4, and now you're only getting one drink. But that foundation was laid. The concept was proven, and listen, Starbucks, it wasn't a fad. It was a culture that was created, and it's still alive to this day. And of course it's evolved because you have the pour overs and the blue bottles and the, all the craftsmanship of coffee. So, and I'm sure in the next 20 years, you're going to see another evolution. I don't know what it's going to be. If I could predict it, I'd be very wealthy, but the fourth wave, there's always talk, 3D latte art was going to be the fourth wave. With the, three-dimensional art, but, I don't know what the fourth wave is going to be, but I know it will come. You've had a first, a second, and a third. So there'll be some kind of evolution at some point.
I have heard rumblings that I'm going to do a couple things on the podcast here. We're going to get into some of your art. I've got some questions for you on kind of not necessarily rapid fire, but I'm going to have everybody answer the same 5 questions as to what they're going to do. But debunking a myth is one of the things that I really want to dive into, which I touched on last week. I did a little bit of a post about dark roast, and whether it had more caffeine and whatever. But I am hearing rumblings and rumors. This is the rumor part. I'm hearing rumors that the world is running out of arabica. Go.
I wouldn't say, yes and no. Okay. I can tell you this. There's definitely been some issues with growing arabica. You had Hurricane Iota. You had a rust in Brazil. There's definitely been some factors. However, I can tell you that during the pandemic, and we're still in the pandemic, it's just a different level of it. There was for a while an oversupply of coffee compared to demand because there was only takeout for a long time in the United States. I can't speak everywhere, but within the United States, there was a lot. Consumption had lowered itself because you didn't have restaurants. You did have people making coffee at home. But right after, I can tell you every trader in the country was calling me, traders I've never heard of. Hey, we have a special, we have coffee, we have too much coffee, we want to get rid of it. So there was definitely an oversupply than demand. On the other hand, consumption will be back. And when you're thinking about it in that factor, and with the few setbacks they had with the hurricanes, the rust, the different, environmental factors, then there could possibly be a shortage in the future. It's kind of like Christmas trees. I don't know. I went to buy a Christmas tree. I got the smallest tree, and it was like the most money I've ever spent for a tree. And the guy was telling me, a couple of years ago, we had a Christmas tree shortage where you're feeling the effects of it now from a couple of years ago. But there was actually a shortage of Christmas trees. So scarcity drives the market up. The market did dip quite a bit during COVID because you couldn't, farmers couldn't produce, but they had an oversupply. So it's I kind of got to go either way about the shortage. There definitely will be a shortage at some point because consumption will grow and it will get back to where it was.
There's kind of a shortage, but not really, but maybe. So there we go. Yeah. And that's, and that's what I'm hearing. And it's interesting because it was going to drive, it's going to drive pricing. And so I wonder how it affects
coffee's definitely going. It is going up now, but it did go down to a a low, like an all-time low. Like
Yeah.
I'm talking around July, August of this past year, it was significant drops. I mean, huge. So
do you get a chance to go to, and we'll jump in a minute, but do you get a chance to go to the farms and stuff? I know when I was talking to Tim, and I know you listened to that interview too, and he's part of a group of roasters that have really tried to make a conscious effort to, at least control that market, like for pricing and stuff like that, or they've tried to at least pay fairly. What's your take on it? Like, what is your take? What do you guys do to do that?
We actually are part of the same exact traceability initiative as Tim.
Awesome.
So basically, what we're doing is, and this is not anything of price. I'm just going to throw a number out, right?
Sure.
Let's say the farmer determines, hey, this green coffee, this plantation, we have this much acreage or hectares that we grew this coffee in. This coffee, we want $2.50 a pound. Guys like Tim, us through the traceability initiative, you want $2.50, we're going to give you $4.50. It's not that we're in a bid or an auction. We are giving them more so that we know this is what they wanted. We pay them over and create sustainability. That money's going into their local economies. They're building schools. They're building communities. They're working for above a fair wage. So we are part of that. And it's really important, the ethos of our company, to maintain that. Is it challenging at times? Sure, because when you're selling to distributors and and the price you're paying way above a normal wage for coffee, it definitely has its challenges. What we've learned to do is some of our African coffee, we've had Rwanda, very, very high-end, expensive, high cupping score coffee, but we'll charge more for that particular blend. Sure. So to kind of offset. So we're trying to keep core products, like espresso is a core product, a filter or drip coffee is a core product. Try to keep those prices stabilized, still using very high quality, paying farmers above what wages that they're asking. But the ones that we're really paying high on, putting those as like a seasonal, basically a seasonal offering. So, once it runs out, we go to the next one and kind of offset the high price that we're paying. But again, it's all about stimulating the economy, right? So we're stimulating these economies in Latin America, Africa, Indonesia. So it's, all part of the initiative and it's responsible, it's responsible on our part.
When you get to travel again, are you going to go check them out? You get to go.
I definitely am going to check it out. We have a girl within the company. She's a director of coffee and she's gone to all the plantations.
Great. I would love that title. I would love that title.
Yeah. Director of coffee, green coffee, I should say. Yeah. She went and she basically meets with all the farmers. She lives on the farms. And, that's really a big part of our company is building that relationship from the farmer, direct to us and then us to the consumer. So it's a really, it's been a fantastic thing for us and it's been really informative and we get to see what the farmers go through and we get to see that they're being paid well and that they're, living, being treated ethically. So it's really a special experience for us. I personally, at one point I will get to go. I haven't gone yet. The only farms I've really been on in the last few years have been Kona farms in Hawaii, which are still, obviously great coffee, very scarce, rarity coffee. But, I do want to make my way to Latin America and, check out some of these coffees for sure.
Me too. I want to get down there too.
All right,
let's play a little game.
Let's charter the jet.
Charter the jet. Let's play a little game. Okay, a couple things coming up for the viewers here as we move to putting this out on video. We are Jay's gonna show you some art, some of his artwork, and they use your hands in movies. Do they still use your hands in movies, or is that over? You're just too busy now. You're just
I just did a thing for Google.
Nice.
They hired me to do some content for them with Latte Art, which was nice. The last movie I did in a scene was The Politician on Netflix. I did had some latte art in the scene. I did that, and I did Westworld actually
Nice.
I did a thing. I did not do what's the one, the Game of Thrones where the coffee cup is in the shot.
The
That was not me.
Starbucks. That's not
Yeah,
you.
that wasn't
I don't
me.
think they had espresso machines back then anyways.
No. So, but it was funny because I did Westworld after that, which was another HBO show, obviously.
Yeah.
And they were laughing. They're like, hey, should we put the cup in the shot to like mimic
Put
Game
a
of Thrones?
Jeremy Gursey coffee brand.
Right, exactly. So, we're doing some cool stuff with some bands, though. We're doing a lot of really cool licensing stuff. So I think last time we touched upon, we finally did the concept with Machine Gun Kelly. A huge hit beyond my wildest dreams. 27 Club, it's in Cleveland. It's his connection to his fans and giving back to his community. And people are lining up out the door every day in the snow.
What kind of blend is that? Is it rocket fuel or is it a little bit more medium or light?
This one we did a Diablo blend. It's a medium roast. It's African, Central American. And you ready for the big? You're not going to believe there's a lot of vegans in Cleveland. I was surprised myself when I heard that. We created just on a whim, I call it a crazy inspiration. Everything in 27 Club is pink. That's Machine Gun Kelly's favorite color. Pink espresso machine, custom done. The walls are pink. Everything's pink. I go in there and I had my lattes and everything ready to go. And I'm like, I got to do something pink, man. I can't just do, chopped mochas and all this stuff. So I created this dragon fruit, basically pink latte. We take the rim of the cup. It's dipped in agave, which is vegan. We dip it then in stone ground dragon fruit, which is like a basically reflective, crystallized pink, almost looks like pink sugar. And then we do a pink milk with dragon fruit, a dragon fruit infused milk, which is oat if it's vegan. And then we do a hot version, a cold version. That is all the rage. Everyone orders that drink. It's all over social media. And again, it was a fluke. It was just like I came in with my set of drinks, and then all of a sudden, you know what? I threw them all out and did the pink latte, and it turned out to be a real winner. So
we'll make sure we link to that because I think everyone would.
For sure.
To it. You're still working with Korn, our buddy Ray and Korn.
Love me some Korn. Going to hopefully work on some new blends soon.
Awesome.
But the blends we've done are awesome. We just hooked up with Coheed and Cambria. Another
more metal.
Yeah, a little. They have an awesome following. Very comic book-esque. I would love to show you the bag, but they made me sign a non-disclosure, and I can't show anybody. But the bag they had these artists create these like limited edition bags, and the end I created the limited edition blend for each bag. So the coffee though is phenomenal. It came out really, really good. The bag is insane. It will be released soon, so definitely look out for it on the internet, social media. And I was really surprised at their following. They have such a strong following and really dedicated fans, and the pre-orders are out the roof. So that was a really fun project. Looking forward to doing more. They're also with Rock Nation, so we've been doing some stuff with the Rock Nation artists. A new fitness model. Been working with Kayla Lauren on an organic, healthy line of coffee. So just kind of.
Dude, you're doing about as many jobs as the rest of us. That's great. I think it's awesome, man.
Yeah. Awesome. So it's been we found a nice niche with rock stars and musicians, and the thing is, like, people don't realize it's COVID. They can't tour. They can stream music and create like music videos, but merch is all they have right now for income. These artists besides streaming, and so like they have to get creative. They have to find ways to connect to their fans, and so some of these limited edition coffees have been an awesome device, for connecting. So, which is also why Korn created Korn Coffee. Same thing, a way to connect to fans with something that they enjoy in their daily routine. So that's been that's been awesome. So cool.
So what we're going to do, we're going to go to there's two things that are coming up. The audio portion of this podcast is going to end shortly, and then we're going to switch to some latte art to finish it, which you're going to have to go online to watch. You have to go on Twitter and everywhere to kind of check out Jeremy's awesome work. So before I let you go on the audio portion of the podcast, I got a couple questions for you. We're going to try to do these. I'm going to ask you the question, see if we can get this in 2 minutes.
2 minutes.
See if you can give me the Cole's Notes version of everything.
Okay.
All right.
All right.
And we'll go for it. I got about 5 or 6 questions here. I'm going to ask everybody these questions that comes on the show, whether they're actually a roaster or not. Just they're general questions. All right.
Okay, let's do it.
This is called the espresso shot. 3, 2, 1. Favorite coffee, not yours.
Ooh, favorite coffee, not mine. Oh, I know this. I like 49th Parallel. They got freaking awesome coffee.
Vancouver, eh? You got some up here in Vancouver.
Yeah, they do a great job. I like Go Get 'em Tiger. I prefer their execution. I think they have they're a local shop in LA, but they do roast their own. They have incredible dedication to execution of coffee. Of course, I love our own as well. Tartine's Coffee Manufactory is, up there for me. Awesome. So definitely.
Favorite method of making coffee?
Ooh, okay. So I do a hybrid pour over. So what I use is a Kalita. The Kalita being the metal kind of funnel, which has the ruffled filter. And then what I do is, instead of that dripping into like a normal glass, I drip it into a Chemex. Oh. And then so when I'm pouring the Chemex, it aerates. So I get an aerated coffee. It's freaking awesome. That's my preferred. Listen, you can kind of see back here. Yeah. I've got a huge, you can close your eyes and pick one. And at one point in my life, every morning I would close my eyes and be like, okay, siphon. We're going to do siphon today. Oh, we're going to do Hario pour over. But consistently go back to the Kalita with the Chemex. Great combination. Definitely a winner, and easy to clean up. Just throw that filter away. The siphon makes the best coffee on the planet, but it's a pain in the butt to clean. So,
favorite coffee region?
Ooh, Africa. Specifically Ethiopia. I love my Ethiopian coffee. Yeah, hands down.
You ready for this one?
I'm ready.
Hotel room coffee.
Ooh.
Or truck stop.
Ooh, I'm going to say hotel room coffee, because I feel like truck stop is that boiled over coffee that's been sitting in a metal percolator, just cooking. And it's probably bottom of the barrel, where at least in the hotel, it's probably a Starbucks, so I'm going to say hotel.
Someone who doesn't know coffee, someone who's coming into coffee goes, what do I do? Where do I start? Absolute advice from you. If you're going to start with coffee and you're going to make your own coffee, and you've got like a $25, $30 budget, whatever, and you don't want to do the Hamilton Beach, a Maxwell House thing or whatever, but you're like, your best introduction to coffee is what?
AeroPress, then French press. AeroPress for sure. It's great quality of coffee, very reasonably priced. I mean, it's made out of plastic. It's a molding. Arabica hit a home run with that. It's awesome. I think I got one. Yeah, I got one right back here.
I use one every single day.
So
yeah, every single day. Absolutely. It's really, really, really the best. And last question, the biggest misconception about coffee.
The biggest misconception about coffee. Well, I think you kind of touched on it earlier. It's really, people assume darker the roast, the more caffeine. No, the lighter the roast, the more caffeine. The caffeine is in the shell of the coffee. In fact, when you have Swiss water, let's say decaf, there's water that's been basically blowing off that or watering off that shell. So I would say definitely the lighter the roast, it's definitely more caffeinated. I think that's a big misconception. There's a big misconception. I won't get into it because I don't want to piss off the coffee gods, but with cold brew and cold coffee, iced coffee. There's a whole thing of like, oh, it's not technically brewed if it's a Kyoto 8-hour drip because it's cold. Brew has to have a hot process. Somebody back in the day created these rules. I don't necessarily know, what gave them the authority to do that. But, there's a big misconception with all that. A brew, to me, a Kyoto 8-hour drip is still a brew. It's a cold brew. It's dripping. It's just because the water itself is not hot doesn't mean that the brew process isn't happening. So that to me is a misconception. But that's that we duke it out.
That's the first ever espresso hit right there. That's the espresso shot on Journey for Java. There we are with Jeremy Gursey. Now you are going to do some latte art for me, and we're going to do this over the internets on the video. And so the audio portion of the podcast is going to end. We are going to record this and I'm going to post it on Twitter right after Jay is done with all this. But before I let you go, let's revisit where people can find you, where the new company, everything, how they can find your coffee in Canada and around America. And then we'll get to some latte art.
We do ship to Canada. So they can find me 3 places. You can find me on social media under J Gursey Coffee. That's JGURSEY Coffee. And then, of course, jgurseycoffee.com. And then our predominant company, Coffee Manufactory. It might be backwards with my camera.
No, works perfect.
Okay, coffeemanufactory.com. Coffee Manufactory on Instagram and Twitter and social media. And you can find me at those 3 places. So come holler at me.
Awesome. So this has been the first episode of Journey for Java. You can catch Jeremy and I's 2-part interview that we did about a year and a bit ago in California, where we did some video as well out at a beautiful hotel in California, right on the beach. And we had a great chat about your history and your history with all the, with Larry David and Jerry Seinfeld and everybody that was involved in that. But I really appreciate you making the time to come back on and help me launch the new one here, sir. And you can find everybody pleasure. Over there. So we're going to go make some latte art. This has been episode 1 of the Journey for Java. That is Jeremy Gursey, my good friend, and now yours. Find his coffee, order it to your house, and follow us on Twitter at Journey for Java. So you're going to see this video that we're going to do coming up right now on the Journey for Java. Thanks, Jeremy.
Thank you. Thanks, everybody.